Given the way in which the race developed, he's quite well touted behind Italy back in here in May. He could improve. I'm surprised he's that big a price, currently 16 to 1.
Market in play.
Shown front is Exanimo from Zia Zabel. Sharky Boy improves on the outside, followed by Il Cosaro. Star Chamber, Mergus Serrato, Fitzperfect, Darius Dark, Antigua, Eniac. He's a big boy. Racing the end of almost a couple of furlongs, and it's Exanimo and Sharky Boy who press ahead from Zia Zabel, followed by Il Corsaro, and then Mergus Serrato and Darius Dark. Couple of lengths to Fitzperfect and Star Chamber. The last three with 5.5 furlongs to go. Antigua, Eniac, he's a big boy. Little between Exanimo and Sharky Boy. A length in front of Zia Zabel, shading third from Il Corsaro, and then Mergus Serrato. Darius Dark next. They're reaching the halfway stage now. Exanimo and Sharky Boy together, followed by Zia Zabel, Il Corsaro. Little has changed up front, followed by Mergus Serrato and then Darius Dark. On the inside, nudged along, it's Fitzperfect, followed by Star Chamber, and then Eniac, Antigua, he's a big boy. 2.5 furlongs to go as they run the home bend. Just in front on the inside is Exanimo from Sharky Boy, followed by Zia Zabel, who's now being called on for an effort, and then Il Corsaro and Mergus Serrato, and then comes Eniac, Darius Dark, Star Chamber, Antigua. Racing towards the final furlong, and it is Sharky Boy, one out from the rail. On the inside, Exanimo. Coming at them is Zia Zabel, followed then by Il Corsaro, Eniac, and then Mergus Serrato. Finding on the inside is Exanimo. Has wrestled back a small advantage over Sharky Boy. They're going to hit the line. Exanimo on the inside.
Market.
Calpana 11 to 8. It's understandable
20
why she's being hammered in
seconds.
the market, really, because she's £10 or more clear of the rest of this field on ratings, and that is pretty concrete evidence. Finishing second to Calandagan in a King George was an excellent run. So although she
enjoyed his two finest hours in these silks on this day, but in very soft ground. It's not soft today. This is the British champions and fillies and mares. Here's Simon.
Market suspended.
Champions, fillies and mares.
Market
stakes,
in
and
play.
away from the stalls at the 1.5 mile starting point, and Ballet Slippers into an early lead. On the inside, Kisisana is being restrained. Calpana going into second. Then We Might Take the Long Way in the light blue jacket. The grey Estrange on the inside then of Wardar. Bedtime Story further back with Danielle. And at the rear of the field is Latakia as they run down the hill towards Swinley Bottom. Ballet Slippers skipping along in front by a half length to last year's winner and favourite to win again, Calpana in second. Kisisana is third, followed by We Might Take the Long Way, then Estrange and Danny Tudhope on the inside of One Look in the red cap. Wardar Yellow Jacket out wide of Bedtime Story, the last two Latakia on the outside of Danielle. Into Swinley Bottom, swinging right-handed and on their way to the 7 furlong marker, and it's Ballet Slippers that leads, tracked all the while by Calpana in second. Kisisana is back in third, followed by then in the light blue We Might Take the Long Way, Estrange, One Look, Bedtime Story, Wardar, Latakia, Danielle. Up the hill now and about to race past the 6 furlong marker, and now racing on towards the 5. Ballet Slippers and Wayne Lorden by a half length to Calpana and Colin Keane. Kisisana is third on the inside, and We Might Take the Long Way. Estrange is held up on the inner behind these alongside One Look. Then a length and a half to Wardar and Bedtime Story, and still at the back Latakia and Danielle. They're about to run into the final half mile and approaching the home turn. And still Ballet Slippers sitting pretty in second is Calpana at the moment. Kisisana on the inside. We Might Take the Long Way. Estrange goes well, might need an out, being held in by One Look. Then Wardar travelling well as well, lots with chances as they swing the corner. Ballet Slippers and Calpana. We Might Take the Long Way. Kisisana. Estrange is having to fight for a bit of racing room and did so there, angling out into One Look. Down the home run, he says go on Calpana. Here comes Estrange now, charging down the outside of We Might Take the Long Way and Kisisana, but Calpana has skipped 4 lengths clear. Estrange is trying, so too is Kisisana, but Calpana is not for stopping and is not for catching, and she backs up in the British champions, fillies and mares.
Market suspended.
And
0 seconds.
And now the flags are raised. They are beginning to walk in, 6 of them approaching the tapes. And we're almost set to go. Will Jordan on top of the rostrum, ready for them at the entrance to the back straight. A steady approach for the half dozen at present. They're off, jumping away for the Weatherby's and Birdie Callender's conditional jockeys, handicap chase and Moonlight Artist, and the black and gold diamonds leads them to the first of 20 scheduled fences. The grey, of course I can, handy, followed over by Lockout in the black and white. Now Blackacre made quite a serious mistake at the first, and Ellis Collier is in trouble with his irons. He lost his left iron, he's got it swiftly back, and the second fence is coming up quickly, and of course I can is striding on. Test Flight in the blue and yellow was a little bit awkward there in 4th place. Spurty is the early back marker, and of course I can is stretching the field out, going to the open ditch, the third. There'd be 15 lengths first to last. Of course I can over Moonlight Artist. Test Flight took a chance, and Spurty in rear was jumping out to his right. So they're well spaced out, turning on down the side of the course to the spread fence. Of course I can over Moonlight Artist. Despite a couple of erratic early leaps, Test Flight is just third now, ahead of Lockout. Black and White Silks in 4th place, and then Blackacre last but one, and finally Spurty as the grey, of course I can, brings them into the straight for the first time at the end of half a mile. On towards fences 5 and 6, of course I can over Moonlight Artist. Test Flight away to the left and Lockout on the right, jumping straight and true. And then Blackacre, and lastly the nose banded Spurty on to the fence, which ultimately is scheduled to become their last. Fence 6 on this occasion. Of course I can, jumping soundly, if a little out to the right, and giving a lead to his 5 rivals as they prepare to embark upon 2 further complete circuits. Test Flight edging up into second around the outer of Moonlight Artist, and Lockout right down on the inner of that pair. And then a small break to Blackacre and Spurty as they turn along the side of the course and head on to fence 7. Of course I can, and Bradley Harris leading Moonlight Artist and Ben Bromley. Test Flight, Kieran O'Shea, the blue and yellow, and the fairly wide trip. Lockout conversely on a run quarter and cutting every corner thus far. And then Blackacre and Ellis Collier and Spurty and Shane Fenlon at the back of the field. And just shortened up going into that one, put himself right in last place as Spurty, as of course I can leaves them at the end of a circuit. Back across the far side they go, over Test Flight, the shadow to Moonlight Artist. Lockout in 4th, then Blackacre and Spurty. Of course I can continuing to jump boldly in front. I'm just beginning to string the field out once again. 8 lengths first to last, moving on towards fence 9. Of course I can, out to the right once more, over Test Flight and Moonlight Artist, then Lockout, Blackacre, Black Jacket after a first fence blunder has been patiently ridden to regain confidence, and Spurty remains last. The open ditch for the second time. Of course I can, Test Flight stretching for it when disputing second with Moonlight Artist. Lockout is 3 lengths away in 4th place. Another couple to Blackacre who has Spurty at his quarters. On down the side of the course they go towards fence 11. Of course I can, continuing to shift right-handed at the fences, but jumping soundly enough over Test Flight and Moonlight Artist. The second half of the field being led by Lockout in advance of Blackacre and Spurty. Into the straight once again. The fences 12 and 13 now await them before a further complete circuit. And of course I can has been setting pretty even fractions so far, and remains a couple of lengths up on Test Flight and Moonlight Artist. Lockout with a white cap still 4th, and then Blackacre and Spurty. They're bearing down on the 13th. Of course I can comes up well. Test Flight, Lockout through the top, just in behind Moonlight Artist, and the final pair remain Spurty and Blackacre, as of course I can leads them under the judge and into the next left-hander. But they're beginning to group up in behind the pace setter here. The other 5 now tightly concertinaed. Moonlight Artist on the inner of Test Flight, second and third respectively, stalked in turn by Lockout, and then Blackacre and Esperti firmly in touch, although still last of the six as they move on towards fence 14. Less than a mile to travel now, and of course I Can leading Test Flight and Moonlight Artist down at the rail. Lockout is yet to be played into the race. Of course I Can jumping soundly. Esperti in last place, not for the first time, had to put himself right and lost a little ground going into the fence. And now they head off across the far side, and the line of three fences awaiting them across there once again. Of course I Can to Test Flight, Moonlight Artist, the black and gold. Lockout a couple of lengths away in fourth, and then a similar margin to Blackacre and Esperti. Heading towards the middle one over on the far side then. And still, of course, I Can, who's made much of the running, continuing to jump out to his right, but a couple ends up on Test Flight, Moonlight Artist. Lockout has come under pressure as the nose-banded Esperti and Blackacre begin to make progress. The open ditch at the end of the back straight. Of course I Can, with now 5 of them right on his tail. Esperti, widest of all, fairly breezing into it, coming right through to dispute second with Test Flight. Moonlight Artist bustled along against the rail. Then Blackacre and Lockout just a little outpace last of the 6. Over the third last, of course I Can. Chase now towards the top. Has stumbled and come down on the bend when just about in touch. So drama on the bend as of course I Can leads Esperti towards the second last. Test Flight in the blue and yellow rallying in third. Then Blackacre and Moonlight Artist. 2 out, looming up for the grey of course I Can. Esperti a length down. Test Flight on the left with a chance. Running down between the final 2 fences. Of course I Can. Grinding away. Esperti now shaken up firmly, trying to get on terms. Then Test Flight. Here's the last. Of course I Can, joined by Esperti. Test Flight a jolting blunder. Esperti and of course I Can locking horns. Of course I Can game will not be denied. Of course I Can, a gutsy display to beat Esperti.
See You In My Dreams is leading towards the first. See You In My Dreams over in front, all of them clearing it. Get Me to the Moon in second place. The white and red jacket Lagatha in third. Quick of the Night wearing the white cheek pieces, and Kitty Foyle, the well-back Kitty Foyle, is in fifth place in between the 2 hurdles in the back straight. See You In My Dreams, and Jay Tidball in front, running towards the second. Get Me to the Moon, Chad Bayman to the outside in red. Sean Bowen and Lagatha running in her first handicap today. First run of the season for her. On the outside then is Kitty Foyle, best turned out winner, and a close-up Quick of the Night. Very well grouped quintet run towards the turn, towards the home straight. And it is See You In My Dreams. Her most recent wins coming at Exeter, beginning of April, and a match race at Newton Abbot in the middle of June. Is going along steadily, under restraint in front. She can be very keen in her races, and is in front at the moment just to Get Me to the Moon in second position. Lagatha the inside, running towards number 3. And then Kitty Foyle on the outer of Quick of the Night. Wasn't one of Quick of the Night's best in 5th place there, and she's wearing those cheek pieces for the first time today. See You In My Dreams is the leader to Get Me to the Moon in second, a previous course winner. 1 circuit to go. Lagatha, who won her novice at Chepstow at the beginning of the year, is in third. Kitty Foyle to the outside. She's fit from a flat campaign over the summer, taking the hurdle at the end of the home straight. And 3 flat runs and 2 second places for Kitty Foyle over the summer. The back marker Quick of the Night as they go out on this full circuit with See You In My Dreams leading. Paul Nicholls has had a winner already this afternoon. Get Me to the Moon is in second place. Kitty Foyle and Robbie David to the outside of Lagatha over the next. And Quick of the Night just the back marker. So they have now got 3 left to jump. 2 in the back straight and 1 in the home straight. And it's See You In My Dreams. She has opened up by around 2.5 to 3 lengths over Get Me to the Moon in second place. Leader going enthusiastically. In third is Kitty Foyle. Lagatha 4th. Quick of the Night 5th. Our stumble at the back there from Quick of the Night. She's okay, but lost ground at that. That was the third last. See You in My Dreams runs to 2 out with a 3-length lead over Get Me to the Moon in second. Kitty Foyle third, Lagatha 4, and Quick of the Night 5. Coming to the second last, See You in My Dreams. Over that, 2 in second, Get Me to the Moon, with Kitty Foyle moving up on her outside. They're getting closer to the leader now, much closer. There's 4 lengths then to Lagatha in fourth, another 2 or 3 to Quick of the Night. Running for the home turn, See You in My Dreams is being challenged now by Get Me to the Moon on the outside. Kitty Foyle trying to stay in the picture as Get Me to the Moon draws upside See You in My Dreams. Jay Tidball getting to work. Chad Bayment on Get Me to the Moon. Kitty Foyle on the inside is in third as they run to the last. They're clear of Lagatha, Get Me to the Moon and See You in My Dreams. The first 2 running to the final flight. Get Me to the Moon only just to See You in My Dreams in second place. Kitty Foyle is in third. Get Me to the Moon, the outside. See You in My Dreams is rallying to try and press, but at the moment, Get Me to the Moon has the answers. She's a length clear of See You in My Dreams. Get Me to the Moon gets back in the winner's enclosure.
Market suspended.
They're up over a mile.
Market in play.
Communications Airfield Stakes, a Group 2-year-old race. Up for the lead, Piazza San Marco, Neil Bourgondour, attended by South Island, Thread of Gold, Christmas Day, all close up, followed by Port of Spain at the end of the first furlong and a half. Closely grouped, Piazza San Marco, fractional leader from on the inside, South Island, and between them is Thread of Gold and Christmas Day, followed by Listen to the Wind Blow, a boy named Susie, Neil Bourgondour, Port of Spain, as they continue down towards the 6th furlong point. On the inside it is South Island, 1 out from the rail is Thread of Gold, 2 out from the rail is Christmas Day, and widest is Piazza San Marco, followed by Listen to the Wind Blow, a boy named Susie, Neil Bourgondour and Port of Spain. 4 lengths covering them as they head for the halfway stage, the Monkey Communications Airfield Stakes. Very few changes with just over 4 furlongs to go. South Island, Gavin Ryan in by the rail. Alongside is Thread of Gold, Joey Sheridan, and right with them is Piazza San Marco and Ronan Whelan. Not much between the 3. Heading round the home turn, then Christmas Day, a boy named Susie, Listen to the Wind Blow, Port of Spain, Neil Bourgondour. Heads turn for home. In a line, South Island, Thread of Gold and Piazza San Marco being stoked up on the outside as they hit the straight for the final quarter. They're followed by Christmas Day, a boy named Susie, Listen to the Wind Blow, Neil Bourgondour and Port of Spain. Piazza San Marco just in front from Christmas Day. His stable companion challenging and through on the inside is a boy named Susie. Inside the final furlong, a boy named Susie just takes it up from Christmas Day, running on Port of Spain on the outside of Piazza San Marco. Up towards the line, a boy named Susie and Christmas Day, very close.
Needs to deliver back to his early 3-year-old season glory for the QE2 of 2025. Here's Simon Holtz.
Brilliant renewal, Field of Gold from stall 14.
Market suspended. Market in play.
Behind Dancing Gemini and Rosalian in the early stages. Going forward up the centre is the Grey Filly Fallen Angel. Tamfana is handy. Also Marvel Man and Exactly in a Purple Cap. Tracking those over on the far side, the Lion in Winter, Alakazi down the centre. They're followed by Kudwar, and then behind those is Docklands, well covered up in these early stages with Carl Spackler, and back in the field Never So Brave is nearer last than first, so too is January. And also towards the rear, held up is Facteur Cheval, and Cicero's Gift is on the far side. They're very well grouped together, and it's probably Marvel Man and Dancing Gemini disputing it with Fallen Angel. Far side is Exactly. Just in behind them, Alakazi. Field of Gold still held up towards the outside of the group, just behind Rosalian. Could develop into a real sprint finish as they run on towards the final 3 furlongs or so. Marvel Man, far side, in the purple cap, Exactly. Dancing Flying Gemini, Fallen Angel now being driven hard. Then Tamfana, Field of Gold about to be produced on the right-hand side with Rosalian ridden along. Trying to come through from the back is Dockland, Cicero's Gift, and the Lion in Winter. The Lion in Winter with a chance. Cicero's Gift on the far side taking off. A wide open race. Cicero's Gift at a massive price from the Lion in Winter. Docklands runs on. Alakazi, Field of Gold in the final furlong. Cicero's Gift holding on at the moment from the Lion in Winter, and it's another major shock on British Champions Day as Cicero's Gift
Market
wins
suspended.
the Queen Elizabeth the second stakes.
Market in play.
Flags are raised and they're off. 2 miles 5 the trip for this listed tote guarantee, never beaten by SP Novice Hurdle, is to head out on the first of 2 complete circuits. And it's Carrick Island and Darragh O'Keefe leads early on from Kilbunny Supersonic, racing in second as they begin the right-handed swing to bring them towards the entrance to the back straight for the first time. Racing in third is Ephesus and Dan King on the inside, followed a couple of lengths back in 4 by Shadow Paddy, and the back 2 Ballykindler and Dramatic License. So heading on the run towards the first of the 10 flights. And Kilbunny Supersonic has now gone on to the lead for Keane Kirk, leads by a couple of lengths as they approach this first flight. Carrick Island in second, gap of 3 lengths then to Ephesus in third, length and a half to Shadow Paddy in 4, Ballykindler and Dramatic License 5th and 6th as they jump flight number 1. Jumping at Indian file and all safely over about 10 lengths or more, first to last. Heading towards flight number 2, and it's Kilbunny Supersonic, taking them along by about 3 lengths. Good jump over it from Carrick Island in second. Gap of some half a dozen lengths then to Ephesus, who races in third, a length in front of Shadow Paddy in 4, and then a length and a half, 2 lengths to Ballykindler and Dramatic License. As they head to flight number 3, the third of the flights in the back straight. Coming to it, Kilbunny Supersonic pops over it nicely, leads by about 3 lengths from Carrick Island in second. So as they reach the end of the back straight, and shortly begin the downhill run to bring them towards the turn in for the first time. Kilbunny Supersonic and Keane Quirk taking them along by about 2 to 3 lengths. Carrick Island, Darragh O'Keefe taking a wider berth in second. 3 lengths then to Ephesus and Dan King in third. 2 lengths to the fourth running Shadow Paddy under Simon Torrance, who in turn is a length and a half in front of Ballykindler and Owen Staples, and the back marker of the sextet is Dramatic License and JJ Slevin bidding for a double on the afternoon in the 2-tone green colours. So as they head downhill towards the turn into the straight, and where flights 4 and 5 await. So as they swing in, Kilbunny Supersonic, the leader, as it has since before the run to the first flight. Leads by about 3 to Carrick Island in second. Ephesus in the blue sleeves, third on the inside of Shadow Paddy in 4, Ballykindler and Dramatic License 5 and 6 is the field. Just beginning to tighten up a little bit as they jump that. Ephesus, slight dive at that flight in third. So as they come to flight number 5, which will be the last in a circuit's time, Kilbunny Supersonic, the leader, by 2 to 3 lengths over Carrick Island in second. Ephesus gave the flight plenty of air in third. A gap of 5 lengths after that to Shadow Paddy, and the stole winner in 4. 5th, behind that is Ballykindler, and 6th and last as they head out in the final circuit is Dramatic License. So beginning the right-handed swing as they head past the 9 furlong point in this listed tote guarantee, never beaten by SP Novice Hurdle. And the lead continues to be held by Kilbunny Supersonic, who hasn't left the inside rail the whole way. Carrick Island has just tended to race slightly wide for Darragh O'Keefe in second. Third behind those, a length and a half to Ephesus in third. 4 is Shadow Paddy, followed in 5th by Ballykindler and Dramatic License, just the back marker of the sextet as they head into the back straight and shortly begin the uphill run inside the final 7 furlongs. 5 flights in all left to jump, and the lead as they come to the 5th last flight, still held by Kilbunny Supersonic. Carrick Island much closer in second, jumps that within a length. 2.5 lengths then to Ephesus in third. Slight mistake at the back of the field by Dramatic License as they continue the uphill run towards the middle flight in the back straight. And over it, Kilbunny Supersonic, Carrick-Island now within half a length in second, 2 lengths to Ephesus, who travels well in third, 3 lengths then to Shadow Paddy with Ballykinler, and that one's outside. Dramatic License continues to be the back marker. Heading towards the third last, the third of the flights in the back straight, as they head inside the final 5 furlongs. And over it, Kilbunny Supersonic, Carrick-Island now within half a length in second. 3 to 4 lengths then to Shadow Paddy, who moves up on the outside to challenge Ephesus for the third spot. Ballykinler travels well within itself in 5, and they're followed a couple of lengths back by Dramatic License as the field begin to tighten up as they shortly begin the downhill run towards the final half mile of this listed contest. Kilbunny Supersonic still fractional advantage over Carrick-Island, moving up on the outside in second to be within a head and a neck, a length and a half then to Ephesus, being ridden in third. Shadow Paddy in 4, Ballykinler travels well in 5, and there are a few lengths to Dramatic License at the back marker of the 6. But the leading 5 now within about 2 lengths of each other. Kilbunny Supersonic being ridden along on the inside as Carrick-Island comes through in the centre now to lead. Ephesus and Shadow Paddy is going to make its challenge wide. Ballykinler tracks them into the straight. Open race as they head towards the second last flight. Carrick-Island with Shadow Paddy moving up now towards the near side to challenge as they come towards the second last. It's the 2 stable companions. Shadow Paddy on the stand side of Carrick-Island. 2 lengths to Ballykinler trying to run on in third. Ephesus in 4. But it's Shadow Paddy now takes command as they come down towards the final flight. Shadow Paddy sees a good stride, lands 2 in front of Carrick-Island in second. Ballykinler keeping on towards the inside, but Shadow Paddy is out 2 to 3 lengths in front and is going to hold that advantage to the line. Shadow Paddy the winner for Ballykinler at second.
One of the last ones to load here, Minerva, the Frankel filly. Let's see if she can get her head in front for the first time.
0 seconds.
Led off over 7 furlongs.
Mark it in play.
Garden Party just leads up stable companion and favourite Minerva. Handy is Take a Bow, being followed by Michaela de Lujan, and on the inside is Divine Legend. Trump is next, followed by Shemlia, length and a half to Charm of Venice, and then Arizona Star, being followed in the still enough early stages by Celestially, and then Push Harder. Keeps getting better. Aquila Star. Heading towards the end of the back straight and moving on in front is Minerva and Ronan Whelan, being followed towards the halfway stage by Garden Party and Liam Canary, and then Take a Bow and Jack Cleary, and then Michaela de Lujan, who's followed on the inside by Divine Legend, then Chambly and Trump next. Pushed along is Charm of Venice, 3 furlongs to go. Turning for the home straight, it's Minerva by a little more than a length, and second and nudged along Garden Party, then Take a Bow. No changes in the first 3. They're stable companions with 2 furlongs to go, followed by Divine Legend, Michaela de Lujan next, and then comes Shamlia. Left of centre, it's Minerva still holding the aces and kicks on from Garden Party. Take a Bow challenge for third by staying on Shamlia. Inside the final 200 yards, and it is Minerva out in front from Garden Party. Good battle going on for the third, but it is Minerva, a 4-timer opening for Aidan O'Brien, a second for Ronan Whelan.
Docks, can normal service be restored? Let's hope so in the British Champion Stakes. Here's Simon.
Mark it suspended.
They're away.
Mark it in play.
Early. Devil's Advocate kept very wide. Mount Kilimanjaro also going forward in the dark blue. The pack are headed by Fox Legacy, Delacroix and First Look. Then on the inside, Yellow Jacket, Almacam, as the pacemakers track across. Ombudsman is held up towards the back behind Calandagan, and then Economics on the inside. Prague is on the inside of Almeric. First Look in the red cap out wide as they go into Swinley Bottom, and it's Mount Kilimanjaro from Devil's Advocate. In third is Almacam, then Fox Legacy. They're followed then on the inside by Prague, and then First Look, and then Almeric on the inside. Economics just looked a little short of room perhaps around there. Delacroix just ahead of him now from Calandagan, and Ombudsman, who must be 12 lengths behind the leaders, is last of all. They're already heading towards the final 5 furlongs, and the 2 pacemakers are now set alight. Mount Kilimanjaro and Devil's Advocate. They go 5 lengths clear of Almacam in second. Prague is back in fourth, then Fox Legacy. First Look, a gap then to Almeric, and then Delacroix, and then behind these is Calandagan. Also Economics on the inside, and Ombudsman still looking on from last place, and they're now beginning the turn into the home straight, and Devil's Advocate goes up past the second horse, Mount Kilimanjaro, 4 or 5 lengths then to Almacam in third. Prague, they're well strung out. Surely these leaders will stop quickly. Fox Legacy peeling out wide. Calandigan, also Ombudsman on the extreme right. Delacroix not getting a good run. First look runs on well. They head now inside the final two. Almacam, Calandigan picking up well with Ombudsman down the near side. These two going on. Delacroix's got 3 lengths to make up. It's up in front, Calandigan, a length and a half. Ombudsman trying to get him, but the French horse is remorseless. The King George winner, Calandigan, wins at Ascot in the Kipco Champion Stakes. One of the great horses in Europe.
Suspended.
In second, Ombudsman, Almacam.
And he got the best turned out, actually. Coconut Twist, striking a pose, bit of a springer late on as well.
Market suspended.
For the
Market in play.
Cartwright handicap hurdle, 2 3/4 miles or thereabouts ahead of him. Sting in his step on the right, the white sleeves and cap leading on the approach the first, with Moorland Rambler on the left, striking a pose, red jacket handy with the nose banded El Sayar. And then Elusiveness in the blue and red stars tracking the leaders on the approach the second, with El Capitan in the dark blue and green on his immediate inner. A 3 or 4 length break to Coconut Twist, who's got a couple behind with 2 circuits ahead of them. Despereaux is one of them, and the favourite, Busy Being Busy, in the dark green and pink, the early back marker, not wanting any part of the early gallop, being set by Sean Houlihan aboard Sting in his step as they run up the side of the track on the lengthy approach to the third. Sting in his step then, forcing the pace ahead of Striking a Pose and Moorland Rambler out wide. And then El Capitan down on the inner, El Sayar in the noseband, just drifting off the leading line to sit in midfield about 3 lengths off the pace ahead of Elusiveness. And then Coconut Twist in the cheek pieces to Despereaux, the red cap, and being busy under restraint at the back of the field. Heading off across the far side and moving towards the end of the first 3/4 of a mile. Sting in his step leading, tracked by Striking a Pose and Moorland Rambler. And then El Capitan in the dark blue and green, upsides El Sayar. They in turn are tracked by Elusiveness and Coconut Twist ahead of Despereaux. El Sayar made a mistake there. Busy Being Busy, the pink cap, remains last of all and would be 8 lengths off the pace setting Sting in his step as they reach the other flight on the far side. Leader kicked it half to the ground but maintains the advantage, and they move into the far corner. Sting in his step over Striking a Pose. El Capitan on the inner of Moorland Rambler. El Sayar in the mauve and green between that pair, and then Elusiveness the rail. And back to the final 3, Coconut Twist, Despereaux and Busy Being Busy. Heading towards the end of the first circuit on the approach to flights 5 and 6. Sting in his step, made all so far. They're close up to his quarters, Striking a Pose just shading second, El Capitan around the running rail and Moorland Rambler wide. Then El Sayar just ahead of Elusiveness and a star jacket, followed in turn by Coconut Twist, Despereaux, the red cap away to the left, and Busy Being Busy looking on the approach to the 5th. Sting in his step over Striking a Pose, El Capitan, Moorland Rambler, El Sayar, then Elusiveness, Coconut Twist on the extreme left, and the cheek pieces, Despereaux and Busy Being Busy remain the final duo. And Busy Being Busy was just a little clumsy there as Sting in his step leads them under the judge with a circuit to travel. Elusiveness just behind the midfield cluster was chased along for half a dozen strides, and now they've got the long run to the first of a pair of flights over in the back straight. Sting in his step, closely attended by Striking a Pose, red jacket, El Capitan right around the inner under Harry Cobden, saving every inch of ground on the bends. Working across to El Sayar in the noseband and Moorland Rambler, the white sleeves wider still. Then Elusiveness over Coconut Twist. Busy Being Busy continues to be held up, buried away on the inner pink cap. Despereaux racing a little wider but in touch, and little more than half a dozen lengths covering them as they head off across the back straight for the final time. Sting in his step then, trying to hold the advantage. Been in front from the outset. The others in no great haste at this stage. Striking a Pose still a very close second. Over Moorland Rambler with the white sleeves, then the nose-banded El Sayar. El Capitan down on the inner, the dark blue and green ahead of Coconut Twist, Elusiveness. Busy being busy and Despero, and there's 8 lengths from first to last, and they're drawing towards 3 out. Last the hurdles in the back straight then, Sting in his step over striking a pose who was asked up. Moreland Rambler down on his nose, made a mistake. Coconut Twist out wide, no grey jacket is making progress. Despero, however, has become outpaced. Elusiveness also feeling the heat, and Moreland Rambler and still falling back through the field. Now Busy being busy, the dark green and pinks having to be ridden along to try and close from the rear. Spring in his step brings them down the side of the course. But only with a slender lead. Al Sayar in the noseband rallying under pressure. Coconut Twist breezing into it out wide. El Capitan, Harry Cobden, angled off the end of the dark blue and green. Then Elusiveness, Busy being busy, beginning to respond now, going into 5th as El Capitan comes breezing through to take it up on the run towards the second last. El Capitan in the centre, Coconut Twist on the left, Spring in his step on his right. Then Busy being busy and Al Sayar from Elusiveness. Here's 2 out. El Capitan and Spring in his step took it as 1. Busy being busy, rallying. Pink Cap beginning to close. Down to the last. Up for grabs here. Could go 1 of 3 ways. El Capitan, Spring heeled. Alongside Spring in his step. Busy being busy. Joining in. Charging down the outer. Busy being busy and El Capitan. Could have gone either way.
Market suspended. Market in play.
And over it in 3rd place is You're Gonna Be Plucky. Outback Frontiers, the checked silks, red and white sleeves. James Turner in 4th, and then Harvey Barfoot Sword and Job's Green Lad in 5th. Bartiar is 6th, and Annie Nail is the back marker as they run to number 4, Tedwin Hills. James Bowen slightly to the left, Invictus Allen following suit with You're Gonna Be Plucky, off since winning at Foslas at the beginning of June. Running in 3rd, Outback Frontiers the outside as they meet fence number 5. And over it in 6th and 7th place is Bartiar and Annie Nail, just a little way off the pace early on here, and Tedwin Hills is now commanding that pace with a 4-length advantage over Invictus Allen in 2nd. Racing in 3rd position still is You're Gonna Be Plucky. Just making a place then is Job's Green Lad in 4th, ahead of Outback Frontiers. Bartiar and Annie Nail as Tedwin Hills gets to the first of the 3 in the back straight, meets it and measures it beautifully. Reaching forward in last, Annie Nail, but she got from A to B as they come to the open ditch next, and it is Tedwin Hills in a 4-length lead. Invictus Allen soared over it, the leader. They all jump it pretty well. So Tedwin Hills to Invictus Allen and Outback Frontiers. Then Job's Green Lad on the outer of You're Gonna Be Plucky. There's only 4 or 5 lengths separating the leading 5 now. Another 2 or 3 to Bartiar, and following Bartiar is Annie Nail, a winner at Fakenham back at the beginning of May. Jumping fence number 8 of the 17. They've very nearly completed circuit number 1 in the Stephen John Toms Memorial Handicap Chase, and it is Tedwin Hills in the lead, 2 Invictus Allen and Jack Tudor in 2nd place. Outback Frontiers 3rd, then You're Gonna Be Plucky. Job's Green Lad, Bartiar and Murray Dodd in the orange and brown colours of Lady Susan Brooke, and the back marker is Tracy Leeson's Annie Nail. So running across the road crossing and now heading to number 9. It'll be the last in another circuit. It was number 1 on the previous circuit, Tedwin Hills. Over that in front, there's less distance front to back now, getting more closely grouped. Tedwin Hills leading Invictus Allen, Outback Frontiers nearest to the enclosures. On the inside, You're Gonna Be Plucky, and then Job's Green Lad in between those. Bartiar wasn't great at the water. Annie Nail was much better than she was a circuit ago. As they run to the fence at the end of the home straight, it's number 11, one circuit left to go. Tedwin Hills over that in front. Outback Frontiers now in second. Invictus Allen is just coming under pressure, has dropped to fifth place, or at best a share of fourth as they take the turn. With Annie Nail and Bartiar much closer, still making up the final two positions as they run to number 12, Tedwin Hills, the top weight, giving £10 and more to his opponents. But jumps like that, very helpful. Invictus Allen is threatening to lose further ground, was quite slow at that and is just about the back marker now. So Tedwin Hills with Outback Frontiers, the closest pursuer. Job's Green Lad, You're Gonna Be Plucky. Annie Nail is more competitive now in fifth on the outside of Bartiar, and Invictus Allen is in last place. So Tedwin Hills leads them, 4 left to jump. Outback Frontiers in second. Quite a big weight difference between the first two. You're Gonna Be Plucky is in third, Annie Nail is in fourth. Bartiar is in fifth, Job's Green Lad is beating a retreat. So Tedwin Hills sorting some of these out and jumps that one quickly with a lead of about 5 to Outback Frontiers in second, then You're Gonna Be Plucky. Annie Nail is now pushed along in fourth place. Bartiar trying to close on her. Tedwin Hills just slowing, looking for a stride going over the ditch, but another tremendous jump. So 2 left to jump from here, and it is Tedwin Hills. Outback Frontiers, You're Gonna Be Plucky. Bartiar has gone into fourth, has overtaken Annie Nail. So running towards the second last, Tedwin Hills on his return to action. Over in front of, in second place, a bit closer, You're Gonna Be Plucky. Outback Frontiers in third. There's 5 lengths to Bartiar, who is plugging on but has more left to do. Turning into the home straight, it's Tedwin Hills with the lead. Tedwin Hills in front by about 4 or 5 lengths again to You're Gonna Be Plucky in second. Bartiar is closing on Outback Frontiers for third, but Tedwin Hills in command here. 1 fence left to jump, 5 in front of, in second place, You're Gonna Be Plucky. This is fence 17, it's the last, it's Tedwin Hills, ran down it, got over it, he didn't need to do anything else. You wouldn't believe this horse unseated the last time he raced Tedwin Hills. He's jumped beautifully, and this has been
Market suspend. Market in play.
2 circuits and 10 flights of hurdles to be jumped in this MasterChef's Golden Vale Cup handicap hurdle as they head towards the first bend. On the inside rail is Hurricane Honey, with on the outer the top weight Betty Dutton. These are the first 2 to show in front, with Wild Mandate in the green jacket showing in third. Racing in 4 is Mr. Irwit in the spotted jacket, followed on that one's outside by the red with the green sash of Lumi Island. On the inner of these is the grey, the Sugar Hill Lady, in company with, upsize that one, the red jacket of Inchydaley Copper. So as they continue to make the right-handed swing to bring them towards the entrance to the back straight for the first time, Betty Dutton and Hurricane Honey race first and second, a length in front of Wild Mandate, and the Sugar Hill Lady is 4 on the inside, followed then by Mr. Irwit, with Lumi Island next on the outside of Inchydaley Copper. They're followed as they approach this first flight by Hey Baby, with on the inside the second of the greys, Analog. Between those races Gaelic to Shasti over the first flight, followed then by Rhythmic Tune and White Wine Wednesday, who's a length in front of the orange jacket of You Know What I Mean, as they jump flight number 2. And again, all safely over. So continuing on the uphill run to bring them towards the third of the flights in the back straight. It's Hurricane Honey the leader by about a length and a half to Betty Dutton in second. Third is Wild Mandate, followed 4 on the inside by the Sugar Hill Lady, who's in front of Inchydaley Copper in the red jacket in 5 as they jump that third flight. They're followed by Mr. Irwit, with that one's outside races Lumi Island, who's followed by Analog and Hey Baby. A length or so in front of Gaelic to Shasti is followed by Rhythmic Tune and You Know What I Mean. The Holmeister races next on the outside of White Wine Wednesday. Scottish Dancer in the diamond jacket is on the inside rail, 1 from last. The back marker is Battering a Boxer. So as they continue the downhill run towards the entrance to the straight for the first time, and heading towards flights 6 and 7. Flights 4 and 5, I should say. Betty Dutton, Hurricane Honey on the inside, followed in third by Wild Mandate. 4 on the inner is the grey, the Sugar Hill Lady with Inchydaley Copper. Mr. Irwit in the spotted jacket is next in the centre of the field, followed as the outer by the red with the green sash of Loomy Island. Analog in the yellow jacket, the grey towards the inside, followed then by Hey Baby on the outside of the blue with the white stars of Gaelic de Chasty. Next is the orange jacket of You Know What I Mean, who's followed as they approach this first of the two flights in the straight by Rhythmic Tune, who's on the outside of White Wine Wednesday, and behind White Wine Wednesday over that flight is Scottish Dancer with the Holmeister, and the back marker continues to be Ballerina Boxer. As they come to flight number 5, Betty Dutton on the outside of Hurricane Honey. Not a lot to choose between these two. Racing 3 lengths in front of Wild Mandate, who shows in third. 4 behind those is Inch Daily Copper with 5 on the inner, the Sugar Hill Lady. They're followed past the stands by Hey Baby, with on the outside of Hey Babies the Holmeisters made a place of 2, ahead of Loomy Island and the Gaelic de Chasty and White Wine Wednesday. They're followed by Rhythmic Tune, with on the inside Analog has just dropped back a couple of places ahead of Scottish Dancer, and the back 2 is the head out in the final circuit is Ballerina Boxer, who's just relegated Mr. Irwit to the back of the field, that one losing its early mid-division pitch as the head continue the right-handed swing to bring them towards the turn into the back straight for the final time. 5 flights left to jump and less than a mile to race in this MasterChef's Golden Vale Cup handicap hurdle. Hurricane Honey on the inside of Betty Dutton. 2 lengths then to Wild Mandate in third. 4 is Inch Daily Copper. 5 on the inside is the Sugar Hill Lady, followed then by Hey Baby, who's made a little bit of ground. Making ground on the outside also of those also is the Holmeister over that flight, ahead of Loomy Island. Analog in the yellow jacket, the grey is next on the inside rail, followed then by Gaelic de Chasty, with behind those Scottish Dancer. Half a length in front of You Know What I Mean, with White Wine Wednesday on the inside. Mistake there by the Holmaster, drops it back to the field. Rhythmic Tune is next, and followed by Ballerina Boxer. This leading group are pretty tightly bunched as they continue the uphill run towards the middle flight in the back straight. And the lead continues to be held by Hurricane Honey by half a length to in second place Betty Dutton. These two jump it almost in unison over that flight. Betty Dutton possibly just with the overall advantage. They're followed in third on the outside by Wild Mandate. Gaelic de Chasty makes ground on the outside of these in company with Hey Baby. Next in the field then Inch Daily Copper. White Wine Wednesday begins to make a forward move behind those, ahead of Loomy Island. Behind those is You Know What I Mean, who tries to make headway ahead of Analog, just losing its pitch on the inside, and Ballerina Boxer is right on their heels. Losing ground at the back of the field is the Sugar Hill Lady, but an absolutely wide open contest as they continue the downhill run inside the final half mile and head towards the straight. 2 flights left to jump. Gaelic de Chasty is moved up on the outside now in the hands of Callum Hogan to dispute the lead with Hey Baby. On the inside, Inch Daily Copper, Wild Mandate between those. They're being tracked into the straight by Rhythmic Tune on the outside in the stripe cap. You Know What I Mean, getting right into it. Betty Dutton fades ahead of Wild Mandate, who's also fading. Down to the second last on the far side, it's Inch Daily Copper. Gaelic de Chasty comes to challenge. Rhythmic Tune on the stand side is almost going to make it 3 and 9 as they come down to the second last. It's Gaelic de Chasty who lands in the lead by 3 parts of length from Rhythmic Tune. Inch Daily Copper on the far side. Gaelic de Chasty being challenged now by Rhythmic Tune and Dan King on the stand side, and it's Rhythmic Tune who lands with a fractional advantage over Gaelic de Chasty. Inch Daily Copper in third, racing inside the final 150. Rhythmic Tune from Gaelic de Chasty. Rhythmic Tune goes on by a length of the line. Rhythmic Tune for Dan King and Mark Malloy.
Market